Good afternoon. My name is Nikita. In today's video, I'll be discussing the judgment of Government of NCT of Delhi versus Union of India. See, this judgment was delivered by the Honorable Supreme Court on 11th of May 2023 and it dealt with a very important issue regarding the scope of the legislative and the executive powers of the Government of NCT of Delhi and the Centre with respect to services. So the question is, who is going to exercise the legislative and the executive control over services? Will it be the Government of NCT of Delhi or will it be the Union of India? This judgment was delivered by a 5-judge constitution bench comprising of Honorable Chief Justice of India D.Y. Chandrachud, Honorable Justice M.R. Shah, Honorable Justice Krishna Murari, Honorable Justice Hema Kohli, and Honorable Justice P.S. Narasimha. Before discussing this judgment, let us first understand an important article pertaining to our discussion, that is Article 239AA of the Constitution of India. See, Delhi is not a state. It is a union territory, but it is a special class among the union territory and it is evident from Article 239AA of the Constitution of India as a special status has been granted to the union territory of Delhi. Article 239AA was inserted by the 69th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1991. Now let us understand the legislative power of the Government of NCT of Delhi, which has been enshrined under Article 239AA, Clause 3, Subclause A of the Constitution of India. So, the Legislative Assembly of Delhi has the power to make laws with respect to the matters which are enumerated in List 2 and List 3, except for entry number 1, 2 and 18 of the state list and entry number 64, 65, 66 of that list insofar as they have a relation to entry number 1, 2 and 18 of the state list. So, the Legislative Assembly of Delhi cannot make laws with respect to the matters which are present in entry number 1, 2 and 18 of the state list and entry number 64, 65, 66 of that list insofar as they have a relation to entry number 1, 2 and 18 of the state list. Now let us see what does entry number 1, 2 and 18 deal with. Entry number 1 provides for the public order. Entry number 2 deals with the police. Entry number 18 provides for the land. Entry number 64 talks about the offences against the laws with respect to the matters in the state list. Entry number 65 talks about the jurisdiction and the powers of all the courts except for the Honorable Supreme Court. And entry number 66 talks about the fees in respect of any of the matters in the state list but not including the court fees. Now let us understand the background of the case. Now this case started with a notification. There was a notification dated 21st of May 2015. See, this notification dated 21st of May 2015 was issued by the Ministry of Home Affairs, which provided that the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi shall, in respect of the matters which are connected with public order, police, land and services, he shall be exercising his control to the extent delegated to him by the President of India. This notification also provided a proviso which provided that the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi may seek the views of the Chief Minister at his discretion. So, this notification provided that the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi, this I am writing in short form, exercise powers with respect to public order, police, land and services. So, what is the consequence of this notification? The consequence of this notification is that the government of NCT of Delhi does not have the legislative and the executive power with respect to services. If we want to recall Article 239 AA Clause 3 Subclause A, it provides that the Legislative Assembly of Delhi has the power to make laws with respect to all the matters which are present in List 2 and List 3 except for entry number 1, 2 and 18 of the state list and entry number 64, 65, 66 of that list insofar as they have a relation to entry number 1, 2 and 18 of the state list. The exception which has been provided under Article 239 AA Clause 3 Subclause A is with respect to entry number 1, 2, 18 and entry number 64, 65 and 66 of state list. Nowhere entry 41 has been included in the exception. So, entry 41 is not there in the exception. And what this notification does, that it excludes the legislative and the executive power of the government of NCT of Delhi with respect to services by issuing the notification. Now, the reason for the exclusion of services is that the government of NCT of Delhi does not have a state public service or a state public service commission for that matter. Now, this matter reached before the Honorable Delhi High Court. This notification got challenged in the Honorable Delhi High Court by way of a writ petition. And the name of the case is Government of NCT of Delhi versus Union of India 2060. So this is the name of the case. See, the petitioners have mainly argued that this notification dated 21st of May 2015, it withdraws the legislative and the executive power of the government of NCT of Delhi with respect to services, and this is very much contrary to the constitutional scheme. Now let us see how it is contrary to the constitutional scheme as argued by the petitioners. The petitioners have further argued that the subjects which are beyond the legislative competence of the government of NCT of Delhi, they are already mentioned in the Article 239 AA itself, and this cannot be altered by way of a notification issued by the Ministry of Home Affairs in this regard. So, this notification dated 21st of May 2015, which encroaches upon the legislative and the executive powers of the government of NCT of Delhi, is illegal and unconstitutional in nature. So, the main focus of the petitioner's argument is that this notification is illegal and unconstitutional in nature. Whereas, the centre has argued that the entry 41 is not applicable to the government of NCT of Delhi as it does not have a state public service or a state public service commission for that matter. Now, let us see what the Honorable Delhi High Court has held. The Honorable Delhi High Court has held that this notification dated 21st of May 2015 is absolutely legal and constitutional in nature. It also held that the entry 41, which deals with services and which finds its mention in list 2 of the 7th schedule, is not applicable to the government of NCT of Delhi. So, in short, the Honorable Delhi High Court has upheld the notification. So, it upheld the notification dated 21st of May 2015 and it held that the entry 41 of list 2 of the 7th schedule is not applicable to the Government of NCT of Delhi. Now, these were the proceedings before the Honorable Delhi High Court. Now, what happened is that an appeal was filed, and the two judges bench of the Honorable Supreme Court, they were of the view that this matter involves a substantial question of law as to the interpretation of Constitution, which is Article 239AA, and they referred the matter to a 5 judges Constitution bench for decision. So, this matter got referred to a 5-judge Constitution bench of the Honorable Supreme Court for decision. And as to why? Because it involved the interpretation of substantial question of law that is Article 239 AA of the Constitution of India. Now, the 5 judges bench was formed in July 2018. The 5 judges Constitution bench led by then Honorable Chief Justice of India Deepak Misra, they pronounced their judgment in the case of Government of NCT of Delhi versus Union of India 2018. So, in this case, the court spoke about the constitutional status of the Government of NCT of Delhi, and it also spoke about the powers and the functions of the Government of NCT of Delhi and the LG. So, the powers and the functions of the Government of NCT of Delhi and LG. The appeals which were relating to individual issues, they were placed before regular benches for adjudication based on this Constitution Bench judgment, which is the 2018 Constitution Bench judgment. Now, after this, in February 2019, the 2 judges bench of the Honorable Supreme Court, comprising of Honorable Justice A.K. Sikri and Honorable Justice Ashok Bhushan, they gave their divergent view regarding the issue of services, which led the matter to be referred to a 3 judges bench for resolution. So, in February 2019, the name of the case is Government of NCT of Delhi versus Union of India 2019, and in this case Honorable Justice Ashok Bhushan and Honorable Justice A.K. Sikri, they gave their divergent view regarding the issue of services. Now let us see the divergent views of the honorable judges. Honorable Justice A.K. Sikri was of the view that the transfer and the posting of the officers of and above the rank of Joint Secretary, it fell within the domain of Lieutenant Governor of Delhi, and with respect to other officers, it will fall within the domain of Government of NCT of Delhi. So, the transfer and the posting of the officers of and above the rank of Joint Secretary will fall within the domain of Lieutenant Governor of Delhi, and the other officers, it will fall within the domain of Government of NCT of Delhi. On the other hand, Honorable Justice Ashok Bhushan was of the view that Honorable Justice Ashok Bhushan was of the view that the services which is found in entry 41 of the list 2 is not applicable to the government of NCT of Delhi. So he held that the entry 41 is not applicable to the government of NCT of Delhi. Now, because of the split verdict, this matter got referred to a 3-judges bench for resolution. So, because of this split verdict, this matter got referred to 3-judges bench for resolution. Now, what happened is that when the 3-judges bench, they were hearing this matter, the Union of India, that is the central government, they came forward and they argued that the 2018 Constitution Bench judgment did not analyze two important phrases which appear in Article 239AA of the Constitution of India. And those phrases are, insofar as any such matter as applicable to the Union territory. So, insofar as any such matter applicable to Union territory. And the other phrase is subject to the provisions of this constitution. So, Union of India, they came forward and they argued that the 2018 Constitution Bench judgment, it did not analyze two important crucial phrases which are insofar as any such matter as applicable to Union territory and subject to the provisions of this constitution. So they prayed that this matter should be referred to a 5-judges bench for decision. Now this matter then got referred to a 5-judges bench for decision for the adjudication of a limited issue. So the issue before the Honorable Supreme Court is that whether the government of NCT of Delhi, does it exercise the legislative and the executive power over entry 41 of list 2 of the 7th schedule. So this is one part of the issue. So the issue is whether the government of NCT of Delhi exercise legislative and executive power over services, and services has been provided under entry 41 of list 2 of the 7th schedule. And a part of this issue is whether the officers of various services such as IAS, IPS who have been allocated to Delhi by the Union of India, does the government of NCT of Delhi exercise administrative control over them. So, with the officers of various cadres or services such as IAS, IPS who are allotted to the government of NCT of Delhi by the Union of India, does the government of NCT of Delhi exercise administrative control over them? So now I'll be briefly discussing the arguments of the petitioner and the center before the Honorable Supreme Court. See, arguments of the petitioners are as follows. The Legislative Assembly of the Government of NCT of Delhi has the power to make laws with respect to services, that is, with respect to entry 41, and this power cannot be excluded merely on the ground that the entry uses the term state public services and not union territory public services. So this is the one set of argument which has been put forward. The second argument is that according to Article 239AA, Clause 3, Subclause A, the Legislative Assembly of Delhi has the power to make laws with respect to all the matters which are present in List 2 and List 3 except for entry number 1, 2 and 18 of the state list. And they also argued that the NCT of Delhi has the exclusive executive and legislative power with respect to all the entries which are mentioned in state list, except for the entries which have been expressly excluded in Article 239AA. Now, let us see what interpretation they have given to the term insofar as any such matter as applicable to union territory. So the petitioner have argued that this phrase insofar as any such matter as applicable to union territory, firstly, this is a term of inclusion and not exclusion. Secondly, they have argued that this term, it acts like a facilitative phrase which enables the application of entries. Now, this phrase, it actually acts like a facilitative phrase which enables the application of entries to union territories without an amendment being made to the 7th schedule of the Constitution of India. And it was held in the case of Union of India versus Prem Kumar Jain, 1976, that the Part 14 of the Constitution of India is applicable to the Union Territory. So the Part 14 is applicable to the Union Territory. Now let us see the argument of the center before the Honorable Supreme Court. See, they have argued that Delhi being a national capital, it has a special status attached to it. So the union government must have a control over the services. So this is the first set of argument. Let us see what they have argued next. Second, they have argued that the entry 41 of the list 2 is not applicable to the union territory as they do not have a state public service or a state public service commission for that matter. Now let us see the interpretation of the term insofar as given by the central government. They have argued that this phrase is actually a term of exclusion and not inclusion. And this phrase actually should be read in a restricted manner so as to limit the legislative power of the government of NCT of Delhi on certain subjects in addition to the already excluded subjects as mentioned in Article 239AA of the Constitution of India. Now, let us see the analysis of the Honorable Supreme Court. Firstly, I'll be discussing the analysis with respect to the legislative and the executive power of the government of NCT of Delhi. So, it is with respect to the legislative and the executive power, the government of NCT of Delhi. See, the position that emerges from Article 239AA, Clause 3, Subclause A is that the Legislative Assembly of Delhi has the power to make laws with respect to all the entries which are mentioned in List 2 and List 3 except for the already excluded entries as mentioned in Article 239AA. On the other hand, the Parliament has legislative competence over all the entries which are mentioned in List 2 and List 3 in relation to the NCT of Delhi, and it also includes those entries where the Legislative Assembly of the Government of NCT of Delhi does not exercise the power to legislate. Thus, the Parliament has the legislative competence over all the entries which are mentioned in List 2 and List 3 in relation to NCT of Delhi, inclusive of the entries which have been kept beyond the legislative domain of the Government of NCT of Delhi as mentioned in Article 239AA of the Constitution of India. According to the 2018 Constitution Bench judgment, a conjoint reading of Article 239AA, Clause 3, Subclause A, and Article 239AA, Clause 4, it states that the executive power of the Government of NCT of Delhi is co-extensive with the legislative power of the Government of NCT of Delhi, and it extends to all the entries which are mentioned in List 2 and the List 3 except for the three matters which are present in the state list, which is entry number 1, 2 and 18 of the state list. So, the court concluded that the NCT of Delhi has the legislative power with respect to entry 41 of the state list. And why does it have the power? Because this has not been expressly excluded from Article 239AA of the Constitution of India, and it further states that if it has the legislative power, then it also has the executive power. Since, according to the 2018 Constitution Bench judgment, the executive power of the Government of NCT of Delhi is co-extensive with its legislative power, so the Honorable Supreme Court has held that the Government of NCT of Delhi has the legislative power to make laws with respect to entry 41 of the state list, and if it has the legislative power with respect to services, then it will also have the executive control over services. So this is the very first issue which they have discussed. Now let us see the interpretation of the term insofar as any such matter as applicable to Union Territory. C. The court noted that if any amendment is made to the state list and the concurrent list, that would require an amendment of the Constitution, which is to be done in accordance with Article 368 of the Constitution of India. The proviso to Article 368 Clause 2 provides that an amendment of the 7th schedule requires a procedure, and the procedure is special majority of 2/3 of the members of the House of the Parliament present and voting, and it also needs ratification by legislature of the states, and this ratification by the legislatures of the states needs to be done by at least half of the states. So, the court said that if this phrase, insofar as any such matter as applicable to Union Territory is not there, then in that case, the Parliament and the legislature of the state would be required to amend all the entries which are mentioned in the 7th schedule, where the term state is used to state and union territories. This would require special majority, and plus this is a very time consuming process, and in order to avoid all such things, this expansive phrase of insofar as any such matter as applicable to Union Territory has been used. The court also noted that this phrase should not be read in a restricted manner. Now let us see what interpretation needs to be given to the subject to the provisions of this constitution. The Honorable Supreme Court also invoked the concept of triple chain of command. See, in triple chain of command, the civil officers, they are accountable to the ministers. The ministers are in turn accountable to the parliament or the legislature of state, who are in turn accountable to the people who voted for them. So if the officers they stop reporting or if they stop abiding the directions which are given by the ministers, then in that case the principle of collective responsibility gets defeated. It is also the responsibility of the government of NCT of Delhi to give expression to the will of the people who voted for them. So the court came to a conclusion that the government of NCT of Delhi ought to have a control with respect to services. Now, let us see what the Honorable Supreme Court has held with respect to NCT of Delhi and the services. So, the Honorable Supreme Court has held that the government of NCT of Delhi has the legislative and the executive control over the services. And these services do not extend to entry number 1, 2 and 18 of state list. The legislative and the executive power over services such as IAS or other services which are relevant for day-to-day administration, they will fall within the domain of government of NCT of Delhi. So, the Honorable Supreme Court has answered the issue and it held that the government of NCT of Delhi will have the legislative and the executive power over entry 41, which is services. So, the government of NCT of Delhi will be having the legislative and the executive power over services, which is entry 41 of list 2. Now, a few days later, after the Supreme Court judgment, the Ministry of Law and Justice, they notified on 19th of May 2023, Government of NCT of Delhi Amendment Ordinance 2023, which provided or which actually gave back the administrative powers to the Union. So, an ordinance was promulgated, which is Government of NCT of Delhi Amendment Ordinance 2023, and this was notified on 19th of May 2023 by Ministry of Law and Justice. What this ordinance did was it gave back the administrative powers back to the Union. So, the administrative powers with respect to services, they were given back to the Union. Now, before discussing this ordinance, firstly let us understand the concept of ordinance which has been provided under Article 123 of the Constitution of India. Here, the President may promulgate an ordinance during the recess of Parliament. Article 123 states that if any time when both the houses of Parliament they are not in session and the President is satisfied that there exist certain circumstances which require an immediate action to be taken, then in that case he may promulgate an ordinance. Now, the ordinance will be having the same force and effect as that of an Act of Parliament, and it will be laid before each House of Parliament, and it will cease to operate at the expiry of 6 weeks from the reassembly of the Parliament or before the expiration of that period, a resolution disapproving it has been passed by both the Houses of Parliament upon the passing of those second of those resolutions. An ordinance may also be withdrawn by the President at any point of time. Now, coming back to the Delhi government case, the Honorable Supreme Court held that the government of NCT of Delhi will be having the administrative control over services. Now, administrative control means the transfer and the posting of officers. So, this will fall within the domain of government of NCT of Delhi. What this ordinance does is, this ordinance gives back the administrative control to the Union of India. Now let us study this ordinance in detail. Firstly, an amendment has been made to the Government of NCT Delhi Act 1991. So there is an amendment to the Government of NCT of Delhi Act 1991, and the amendment is as follows. Firstly, Section 3A provides that notwithstanding anything contained in any judgment, decree or order of the court, the Legislative Assembly shall have the power to make laws in accordance with Article 239AA except for entry 41 of the list 2 of the 7th schedule. So, Section 3A provides that notwithstanding anything contained in any judgment, decree or order of the court, the Legislative Assembly shall have the power to make laws in accordance with Article 239AA except for entry number 41 of the list 2 of the 7th schedule of the Constitution. So it says that the Legislative Assembly of Delhi does not have the power to make laws with respect to entry 41 of list 2, that is the 7th schedule. If we can recall the Supreme Court judgment, the Supreme Court clearly states that the government of NCT of Delhi does have the legislative and the executive power over services, which is nothing but entry 41. And now this section, that is section 3A, states that notwithstanding anything contained in any judgment, decree or order of the court, the Legislative Assembly shall have the power to make laws as per Article 239AA of the Constitution of India except for entry 41 of the state list. So this ordinance is overriding the Supreme Court judgment. Now part 4A. Now this part 4A deals with the provisions relating to the democratic and administrative balance in the government of NCT of Delhi. So, let us now discuss these provisions. Firstly, 45A to 45M has been inserted. I'll be only discussing the relevant provision. The very first relevant provision is 45B, which provides that there shall be a Public Service Commission for the NCT of Delhi. So, there will be a Public Service Commission for the NCT of Delhi. The next point is 45C, which states that the central government has the power that it can make rules with regard to the affairs of the government of NCT of Delhi. So, central government has been given the power to make rules, and these rules will be with respect to the affairs of the government of NCT of Delhi. And one such rule which they can make is it is with respect to the transfer and the posting of the officers. So point D talks about the transfer and posting of officers. Now let us talk about 45E. 45E talks about the constitution of National Capital Civil Service Authority. So there will be a National Capital Civil Service Authority. Now this authority will comprise of 3 members, and the members are as follows. The very first member is the Chief Minister of the Government of NCT of Delhi, who will be acting as the chairperson ex officio. The second member is the Chief Secretary of the Government of NCT of Delhi, who will be acting as the member ex officio. And the third member is Principal Home Secretary to the Government of NCT of Delhi, who will be acting as the member secretary to that authority ex officio. Now, 45H talks about the powers and the functions of National Capital Civil Service Authority. So, this authority has been given the power, or it has been given the responsibility to recommend the transfer and the posting of the officers which are employed in the Government of NCT of Delhi, that is the officers which are belonging to Group A and DANIX, which are present or which are related to the Government of NCT of Delhi, but they are not related to entry number 1, 2 and 18 of the state list. So, National Capital Civil Service Authority has been given the responsibility to recommend the transfer and the posting of the officers of Group A and other officers serving in Delhi but not in connection with entry number 1 to 18 of the state list. So, this was all about the ordinance. Now, I'll be discussing the 3 courses of actions which are to be determined in the near future. Now, this ordinance was promulgated on 19th of May 2023. The central government has filed a review petition on 20th of May 2023 before the Honorable Supreme Court seeking the review of decision. Now, what will happen next? Now, this ordinance, as per Article 123 of the Constitution of India, it will be laid before each House of Parliament. And it shall cease to operate at the expiration of 6 weeks from the reassembly of Parliament, or even before the expiration of that period. A resolution disapproving this ordinance has been passed by both the Houses of Parliament upon the passing of second of those resolutions, or it may be withdrawn by the President of India at any point of time. So this is with respect to the operation of ordinance. It was also in news that the government of NCT of Delhi may challenge this ordinance before the Honorable Supreme Court. This is the second course of action. And the third course of action is that the central government has already filed a review petition before the Honorable Supreme Court and its decision is still awaited. So all these courses of actions, they are going to be determined in the near future. Before ending this discussion, I would like to state one such instance where the Parliament has made a law and which overrides the Supreme Court judgment. So one such instance was in the year 2018, and the case was Dr. Subhash Kashinath Mahajan versus State of Maharashtra. And this judgment was delivered by the Honorable Supreme Court in the year 2018. In this case, what the Supreme Court dealt with, that there were certain directions given by the Honorable Supreme Court in this matter regarding the prevention of misuse of the provisions of SC/ST Act. So, guidelines were given, and these guidelines were with respect to the prevention of misuse of the provisions of the SC/ST Act, and the name of the act is SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act 1985. So, the very first guideline was that there is no absolute bar against the grant of anticipatory bail in a case under the SC/ST Act if no prima facie case is made out. This is the very first direction. Second is, in order to avoid false implication of people, a preliminary inquiry may be conducted by the DSP so as to find out whether a prima facie case or even a case has been made out under the SC/ST Act or not. Very third direction is that the arrest of a public servant requires the approval of the appointing authority, and in case the arrest of a non-public servant is there, then in that case the approval of SSP is required. So these three directions were given. Now what happened is that the Ministry of Law and Justice, they amended the Principal Act. So, the Ministry of Law and Justice, they brought an amendment to the Principal Act, which is the 1985 Act, and the amendment was brought in the year of 2018. So, let us see what does SC/ST Amendment Act of 2018 deal with. SC/ST Amendment Act of Section 18A was inserted. So this was the major amendment which has been brought. Section 18A was inserted to the Principal Act. So they heard that a preliminary inquiry shall not be required before the registration of FIR. So, no preliminary inquiry required. Second is, investigating officer shall not require the approval of any person for the arrest of a person against whom an offence has been made out. So, no approval of a person for the arrest. Then it says that the provisions of Section 438, that is, the provisions of anticipatory bail, are not applicable to the SC/ST Act, notwithstanding any judgment, decree, or direction of the court. So, the provision of Section 438 CRPC, which is the provision of anticipatory bail, is not applicable to SC/ST Act, and the rider is notwithstanding any judgment, decree, or order of the court. So this amendment, it actually dilutes the Supreme Court judgment. So the effect of this Amendment Act is that this amendment dilutes the Supreme Court judgment. Now, Next, what happened is that this Amendment Act of 2018, it got challenged before the Honorable Supreme Court, and the three judges bench in the case of Prithvi Raj Chauhan versus Union of India, it upheld the constitutional validity of the Amendment Act of 2018. So, in the case of Prithvi Raj Chauhan versus Union of India 2020 Supreme Court, the Honorable Supreme Court upheld the constitutional validity of the Amendment Act of 2018. So, coming back to the Delhi government case, I have discussed the three courses of action which are going to be determined in the near future. I hope you have all understood this judgment and the relevant provisions of the constitution and the latest judgment or the latest developments which took place after this case. Thank you.